Hey everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here, waiting to pick up my son from his latest rehearsal, and I just wanted to bring you an encouraging word. Vegan Prepper, Vegan Prepper. Lately it seems like a lot of channels are blowing up with kind of doom and gloom stuff on the horizon. Whether it's shortages, inflation, dealing with, the ramifications of the last few years, the ramifications of current events, crop shortages, crop failures. I mean, it's like, honestly, the issues and problems never end. They don't cease. And that's, in a weird way, stay with me. In a weird way, that is the encouraging part. There is something that I say to myself and to my kids all the time, for instance, when we are in the store. When we're looking at things and I want stuff, they want stuff, I think about the verse in the Bible that says the eyes of man are never satisfied. That basically there's always going to be another thing to want. You don't necessarily have to buy something right now because you're going to want something else tomorrow. And it's just sort of a way of hedging spending, but just understanding that that state of wanting things is never going to end. What does the shopping thing have to do with the prepping thing and what I want to say? Basically, to connect the two concepts, I think of a similar thing, which is basically that there is always going to be another thing to be afraid of. Always. If not tomorrow, then next week, next month, next year, whatever. Whether on a global scale or on a personal scale, terrible things can happen. Almost at any given time. And I know that, again, it might not sound like an encouraging word on the face of it, but weirdly enough, I find it really freeing, and really liberating. Just like I tell myself, there's always going to be another thing to want, so I don't need to buy this thing right now. I can tell myself there's just always going to be another thing to be afraid of, so I don't have to be afraid of this thing right now. It actually helps keep my emotions in check as I am purposefully and methodically always moving forward in my prepping goals. I think of the word too, again, where it says be angry and do not sin, and my encouragement would be to prep and do not fear. It's possible to prep without having to get caught up in the emotion and the drama of it. Just look at situations and think, hey, if something like this happened, what might I need? You can find a lot of really great resources with very practical information. I've got to tell you, my absolute favorite channel on all of YouTube for this kind of stuff is The Provident Prepper. I will link them down below. They are such an incredible family, an encouraging family. They prep from a positive standpoint as well. And I can't think of a single other channel on all of YouTube. Now, there may be one, it's just not one I'm familiar with, that has a larger amount of resources for preparedness in almost any scenario that you can think of. Their book is also incredible. I have purchased their book and I will link that down below as well. So yeah, it's just the encouragement being to not be afraid, to not get caught up always in the latest thing. That there are, I like to think that a lot of people really are talking about things from a good place in their heart, trying to help. But I really do believe that there are a lot of channels out there that are just kind of like the mainstream media, and they're basically profiting off of people's fear. And so I feel very strongly about not having that kind of content on my channel. I am working on how to get more practical content out here, but I feel like for me too, the way I approach prepping as well is that it's not necessarily only for some disaster. It's like a daily thing for me. You know, even just tonight, the meal I cooked tonight, I cooked from and almost entirely from my dry stores. It's a delicious barley lentil soup. I'll link that down below too. It's a delicious instant pot recipe, and I used every single vegetable I put in was a dehydrated vegetable that I have dehydrated previously. I used my bucket of barley, my bucket of red lentils, and this is just the way that we cook and eat. Some fresh greens in there on the side, and you know, it's not only practical, it's a very healthy way to eat. Super cheap, especially in these times. There has been pretty much nothing but positive I have found from shifting pretty much all of our cooking from, I don't know, prepackaged foods to bulk dry goods. And we've made that switch slowly over years. And for us, it started as a budget thing, not a prepping thing. And it sort of morphed into a different thing as we went. But yeah, just I'd encourage you, you know, you think about scenarios. There is not much on this earth that is not covered, if not covered, then at least made better by having a stock of food on hand, a stock of water, the ability to cook that water without power, the ability to purify that water, basic sanitation needs, like a plan for what you would do if you lost access to a toilet, for instance, planning how you will dispose of human waste, things like that, sanitation stuff, plans for bathing and showering, maybe even like a little bit of first aid. If you've got medications, for instance, you know, like, because also you tailor it to what you need. So if you have a medication, for instance, that needs to be refrigerated, like we don't have any of that. We don't have any of that in our family. Praise God, right? So we don't need that. But if you need that, then you would need to plan for, you know, some sort of refrigeration, maybe a stock of medication. I don't know. So things like that, you have to tailor it to what would you need to survive, you know, a prolonged power outage or whatever, and figure that out for yourself. The vast majority of needs, vast majority, are covered again just by food, water, the ability to cook and without power, clean that water. Yeah, like basic antibiotic ointment, bandages, you know. I'm going to talk a little bit more about stuff. There's another really excellent book that I just recently got called The Herbal Medic. I will post that down below as well. Just an excellent book on how to put together a first aid kit. This is a guy who I believe was a former Green Beret. He was trained in austere medicine, basically medicine with like no support. And so he wrote this book, and it is an incredible resource. I haven't ever seen a better resource on specifically the first aid stuff, and I will link that down below. Anyway, there's a lot. So yeah, I don't need to make this super long, but it's just my encouragement. Prep and do not fear. There will always be another thing to be afraid of. You don't have to be afraid of the latest thing that just came out. Just continue plodding forward. Make your plan and move forward. One bulk bag at a time, one bucket at a time, 1 Mylar bag at a time. Just keep moving forward. Even if you're only just now starting, don't listen to all the people who say there's no time. Start now. Even if all you do is get yourself like 2 weeks worth of food, you're going to be better off than like 90%, 95. It's kind of scary, honestly. That's scary. Like, don't be afraid. And I'm like, this is really scary. But yeah, to think of how few people are prepared. But still, just keep moving forward. You know, you will be better off. No matter what, you're going to be better off. You know, whatever progress you make is still progress. So don't let anybody tell you different. Anyway, if anybody has any thoughts, let us know in the comments down below. Hopefully you found that encouraging. Sorry, this video is so rough. I just, like, it's just been on my mind, and it was on my mind again because I saw another channel pop up in my feed, like one I haven't even seen before, talking all the same fear, doom, just negative. And it's like, not that that stuff doesn't exist. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is just move forward. You don't have to be afraid. There's always going to be another thing to be afraid of. Just keep your eye on the prize. Keep moving forward. Prep because you love your family. Prep because you want to have a good life. Prep. just because it's wise. Yeah, just because it's wise. Don't, yeah, anyway. All right, that's it. As always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for listening to me babble. Hopefully that was encouraging to you. See you guys later. Bye.